Pablo Escobar, Frank Lucas, Rick Ross, El Chapo. All right. And even Scarface, who's a fictional character. Why do black people revere drug lords? It's simple. Racism, white supremacy. Again, they control all 9 areas of activity. That's economics, education, entertainment, labor, law, politics, religion, sex, and war. All right. So when you have the government involved, knowingly, right, getting involved in the drug trade. Okay, this goes. You can go all the way back to the Frank Lucas days. They knew exactly what's going on. The CIA specifically, they knew about the shipments and the supply and all that stuff, right? The CIA has had their hand in the drug trade cookie jar ever since its inception, since it started. Okay, and so when I mentioned Rick Ross, the real Rick Ross, Freeway Ricky Ross, all right, drug lord. One of the progenitors for being a, drug kingpin in the 80s in Los Angeles for bringing in and starting the crack cocaine epidemic. Again, the CIA was involved. All right. They had their hands in the cookie jar in the drug trade. And so I wanted to bring up this subject matter because there was a recent article that I'm going to reference, and it's also a video that Pablo Escobar's son, all right, indicates that his father, Pablo Escobar, worked for the CIA. And that's, again, I've said this is not surprising at all. It's not surprising whatsoever. All right. The CIA has had their hands in the drug trade since its inception. So it's no surprise at all. But I just want to point out the fact that this is the reason why black society has such an infatuation and they revere drug lords and drug kingpins. All right. You see the rappers, they name themselves after drug lords, right? The Ricky Rosses, the Freeways, all right, et cetera, et cetera. Scarface, right? A fictional character. It goes back to the people running and controlling the system. Okay? The people who are classified as white. They're the ones running the system, which is specifically the government. All right? And trying to control the narrative. So I'm going to briefly talk about Pablo Escobar's son, talking about his father working for the CIA. I'm going to provide some commentary and also play a video. Before I get into that, family, let me reintroduce myself. My name is Chauncey. If you're watching me for the first time, a.k.a. the Black Separatist, on this channel you're watching, I talk about counter racism. I also talk about issues that affect black people collectively as a group. And I offer my suggestions on how to replace this broken system of injustice, this broken system of racism, which is white supremacy, with a system of justice. So if you are new and you agree to that ideology, please subscribe to this channel. If you don't agree, go ahead and subscribe anyway, because I need two things: my viewership and my subscribers to go up so my message can be widespread about replacing this broken system of injustice with a system of justice. So if you want to hate, watch, and troll, be my guest, because at the end of the day, those types of people are just view counts and statistics. All right, so like I said, family, there was a article and also a video that came out recently about Pablo Escobar's son, in a book actually that's going to be coming out. I believe it's going to be a biography. Yeah, a biography about the life of Pablo Escobar. And his son came out and admitted in the book, saying that his father worked directly for the CIA. So let me play this video real quick and give you guys my thoughts on this. So here we go.
Well, now we turn to a shocking revelation about the world's most powerful drug lord. In a new book, Pablo Escobar's son claims his father worked directly for the CIA in the big business of drug trafficking. RT's Marina Portnaya brings us the details.
Notorious drug kingpin Pablo Escobar amassed an estimated $30 billion fortune by operating a drug cartel with customers all around the globe. At the height of his career in the 80s, El Patron reportedly supplied about 80% of the cocaine smuggled into the United States, a powerful reign allegedly made possible by a powerful silent partner no one would expect. According to Escobar's son, the Colombian drug kingpin worked directly for the CIA, selling cocaine to finance the fight against communism in Central America. Juan Pablo Escobar elaborates on his allegations in his second book, Pablo Escobar Infraganti. In a recent interview, Escobar's son said, quote, what the CIA was doing was buying the controls to get the drug into their country and getting a wonderful deal. My father was a cog in a big business of universal drug trafficking, unquote. By partnering with government associates like the CIA, Escobar's son claims his father was able to skirt the law, which ultimately allowed the Medellin cartel to smuggle cocaine into the U.S. on a daily basis. If the allegations are true, it could mean U.S. intelligence officials were covertly fueling the cocaine epidemic while Washington was simultaneously cracking down on it through its war on drugs. Former DEA agent turned whistleblower Celerino Castillo was part of the agency for 12 years, a time during which he gained a deeper understanding related to the war on drugs and U.S. involvement in the Iran-Contra affair. This is what he told RT in a previously aired interview.
We were the enemy. We were the ones that were involved in sleeping with the drug cartels. We allowed, once again, those third world countries to supply drugs to the United States, and on the return trips, we're bringing back weapons, which became known as the Iran-Contra operations to finance the, for example, the Contras in Nicaragua, to try to defeat Daniel Ortega and the Sandinistas. But we also, to make money on the covert operations that we were running down there, actually we allowed them to deal in drugs into the United States. And that was when we actually cornered the market in the crack epidemic back in the 80s.
23 years following Pablo Escobar's death, movies, books, and even a TV series have documented his lucrative and powerful rise. However, all the key players who allegedly aided El Patron may not necessarily receive public credit. Marina Portnaya, RT, Miami.
That's powerful right there. That is powerful. You had a whistleblower basically indicating you had infighting within the system of white supremacy, right? You had the CIA, right, trying to control the narrative of the drug trade. Then you had the White House trying to fight so-called the drug wars, right? You had the infighting within your own system, and that's pretty much a normal occurrence, right? But that was admitted by a whistleblower, right? So when you have these kind of things, family, within the system of white supremacy, you have a thing called purging, right? There's purging in all aspects of society. You're trying to find out and basically weed out the best of your particular group or your elk. Trying to weed out people that you need and you don't need. That's the purpose of infighting. And so during the 80s and the high of the crack epidemic, you had the CIA and the FBI controlling the drug trade narrative. And from that point, you had the start of a social engineering construct that basically adopted the mind of black people revering and just being awestruck of drug dealers and drug lords. Like I mentioned to you before, the Pablo Escobars, the Scarfaces, the Frank Lucases, right? Et cetera, et cetera. Freeway Ricky Ross, et cetera, et cetera. That is the main reason why black people, in a general sense, they just revere drug lords and drug kingpins and things of that nature. All because of the system of racism, white supremacy, and the fact that the government was knowingly involved in controlling the drug trade. All right. But that book seems very interesting. I may even cop that book by Pablo Escobar's son, because that does sound very interesting. I would like to read into that and get further in depth about his father's involvement, Pablo Escobar Sr. I would like to know more about, in full detail, his involvement with the CIA and the government in general, and how much money the government actually made and profited from the drug trade. That's what I want to see. I want to know about that. How much money was made in the drug trade during the high of the crack cocaine epidemic? How much money did the government, the system of racism, white supremacy make, and how much they kept under the table? And who's benefiting from today? Who is still benefiting from today, right now? Most likely these people have accounts overseas, et cetera, and they're still using that money today. So, and I'm pretty sure it's in the billions of dollars. As they said, Pablo, generated $30 billion, and I wouldn't be surprised if the U.S. government, made that much money as well, in the billions, and they're benefiting from it today. So, I would not be surprised, but I'm gonna definitely check that book out and see what that's about, because that sounds very, very interesting, family. Very interesting. But again, family, that is your reason why, in my opinion, black people revere drug lords. And it's not even my opinion. These are proven facts, okay? Do your history, all right? The drug trade during the height of the crack cocaine epidemic was heavily involved and controlled and operated by the government, all right? The system of racism, white supremacy. So those are just facts, all right? Look up the interviews with the real Rick Ross, Freeway Ricky Ross. Look at it, check out his interviews. He has plenty of interviews referring to his involvements with the government and CIA, et cetera, et cetera. Check out his interviews as well. All right, so those are my thoughts on that, family. Leave your comments down below about the Pablo Escobar and his son. And shout out to one of my subscribers who also mentioned that for me to actually check it out, because I just thought about that. I was like, you know what? Someone did remind me to check out this Pablo Escobar thing. And I was like, yeah. For some reason, I didn't think about that. But anyway, shout out to one of my subscribers. Forget your name, excuse me. But for referring me to this story. But I'm going to definitely check this book out, man. This seems very interesting. I just want to get more involved and more in depth about Pablo Escobar's dealings with the CIA. I want to get in greater detail about that. All right, family. So those are my thoughts. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. All right, family. Until next time, Chauncey, a.k.a. the Black Separatist, signing out. Peace.